What is up? What is going on? This is What's for Dinner. I'm Drew, and tonight we're going to be making some surf and turf. So, obviously, the star of the show is your turf part. These were jumbo shrimp as opposed to the other ones that were there. They were also white shrimp. These they discounted, and you can get a lot of your shrimp discounted, especially if it's been there for a couple days. I'm going to de-shell these, make sure they're deveined and everything like that. Again, the guy discounted them at the deli for, I believe, $7.99 a pound, and that's what the other ones were on sale for. And then you can make your own cocktail sauce if you want, but I'm not going to. I love McCormick products, of course. Got one large lemon. We're just going to use some Old Bay seasoning, also some ground black pepper and some kosher salt. And then we also just have some green onions here, mainly for looks. And then the turf part of it, I just got some New York strip steaks. And you guys have seen me cook steaks on here before. And we're going to do those in the cast iron skillet. Of course, I also have some butter that I'm going to use along with this as well. I like the Parquet squeeze butter. You can use any kind of butter you want. I'm going to devein these and also take off the shells real quick. And I'll show you the last one that I do. So I know this will be a hard angle to get on the camera, but these came apart fairly easy. Now, a lot of times people will leave this on, especially if they're grilling it. That way it doesn't burn off. Just the shell, that is. But, I'll see. It might be a hard angle to see, especially with the lighting. Fairly easy. Got my trash can right here. Just makes it easier. Let's see. So you got the end of the tail, but I'm going to take that right off. A lot of people leave the tail on it because it's aesthetically pleasing, and then I'm going to season them up. So this is how naive I am to the whole thing. I figured out they're deveined by watching a couple videos. This is basically my first time cooking shrimp. My wife has, obviously. And I'm just going to take my lemon over here. Of course, I've got my Old Bay. It's going in. And I'm going to move these around as well. I know they're going to be salty already, but just a tiny bit of kosher salt. Of course, some black pepper. That lemon smells amazing. Of course, got one of these. See how well this works. It's maybe more for limes. Seems to work pretty well. I'm going to use the other half of the lemon after I cook them. Let's get to seasoning up the turf. What you want to do, you got a cast iron skillet here. I'm just going to start heating it up, and actually this is what they look like all seasoned up. These are going to go back in the fridge to hang out. Of course, here's the turf part of it. Again, just some New York strip steaks, McCormick Montreal steak, and this is actually the 25% less sodium one. It was on sale. I'll say it was the other one. I think it was like 69 cents or something like that. I'm going to do both of these sides. I'm going to hit this with some Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire sauce, whatever you want to call it. and they're going to go into the freezer just to firm up while I heat up my cast iron skillet. Steaks are fresh out of the freezer. I'll just get a nice crust on each side. Actually, I'll just do a crust on the one side. And then instead of doing a 90-degree turn like I normally would do on a grill, to give those grill marks, I'm going to do a 180-degree turn. That way they're cooked evenly. I've got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. If you guys see me cook steaks before, I was doing them at a higher temp. They were coming out a little more well done than I wanted. We're shooting for a medium rare here. So a couple minutes on this side. Once I get a nice crust on the one side, we're going to flip it 180, then we're going to pop it in the oven for a few minutes. Be right back. Got my pots and pans over here. I'm going to steam some asparagus. Doesn't really have a crust on it yet. And I know I'm going to get lit up in the comments for using metal on the cast iron, but it's what I got. We'll do the shrimp in this. We'll do it on this burner. I'll be back in about a minute or so. Make sure you want to get, excuse me, all your sides. There's a nice crust on that side. You already see that crust building up on that side. Of course, I'll pop it in the oven. I'm going to set another little quick timer. We'll go for 3 minutes because it's still going to continue to cook when it comes out. And we're going to start cooking the vegetables and the shrimp. The shrimp won't take very long to cook at all. I've got just some Parquet squeezed butter. You can see that just in the pan. Also a little bit with the asparagus. And we have some mushrooms that will go in as well with the asparagus. So those won't take too long to cook. We'll be right back. Okay, got the shrimp in. A couple more minutes. We'll give those a flip. Steak's still in the oven. Probably needs to come out, and we're going to let those rest. Shrimp still on. There's the steaks coming off. I'm going to put them on a plate and let them rest. I've got the mushrooms on. Smelling good. Probably put some black pepper on those. They also just have Parquet butter in there as well. They'll be the longest to cook. In a couple minutes, we're going to flip these. I'll be right back. Gave them a flip. Again, I'm no expert on cooking shrimp, but these are starting to look pretty done. And I've only been cooking them for about 5 minutes. Recipe I read was 4 minutes on one side, 3 minutes on another. So a couple more minutes to go just to be sure. We'll be right back. Oh, Mr. Creepy Face Cam guy. Perfect medium rare. Please check us out on iTunes podcast app as well as paypal.me/live from the workbench. We appreciate everybody out there that watches. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.